Imagine being just 16 years old, accused of a crime you never committed. No trial, no conviction, yet locked away for years. This is the story of Kalief Browder, a teenager from the Bronx whose name became a symbol of America's broken justice system. Kalief grew up in a tough neighborhood of New York City, but he was no different than any other teen. He loved his family, cared about school, and dreamed of building a better future. He was the youngest of 7 siblings, raised by a foster mother, who gave him love but struggled with poverty. At 16, Kalief was like any other teenager, hanging out with friends, joking, trying to find his place in the world. One night in 2010, while Kalief was returning home from a friend's party, came police car light, flashing, siren, blaring, officer stopping a young boy on the street at night. Kalief was confused, scared, and then he was accused of stealing a backpack with valuables. No evidence, no real witness, just suspicion, and instead of letting him go home, the police didn't care. They arrested him and charged him for robbery anyway. Bail was set at $3,000. For many families, that might not sound like much, but for Kalief's family, it was an impossible sum. They simply didn't have the money, and because of that, Kalief was sent to one of the most notorious prisons in America, Rikers Island. What was supposed to be a short stay turned into a nightmare. Days became weeks. Weeks became months. Months became years. Court dates were delayed again and again. Kalief refused to plead guilty because he knew he was innocent, but the cost of holding on to the truth was unthinkable. Inside Rikers, Kalief faced violence every day, from both inmates and guards. And then came solitary confinement, locked in a tiny cell, not for hours, not for days, but for more than 700 nights. Alone, he turned 17, 18, 19, locked alone for 23 hours a day. No trial, no conviction, just isolated and forgotten. For a teenager, it was torture. Yet through it all, Kalief kept saying the same thing: I didn't do it. The system broke him down. He attempted suicide multiple times. He begged for justice. But the courts kept delaying over and over again. Justice delayed became justice denied. Through the darkness, he held on to hope. He wrote letters, dreamed of freedom, believed the truth would one day be heard. After 3 long years, the charges against him were finally dropped. Kalief walked out of Rikers Island a free man, but he was not the same boy who went in. He was 20 years old now. 3 years stolen from him. No apology, no compensation, just a freedom that came too late and with a heavy weight of trauma. Kalief tried to rebuild his life, struggling to smile. Quiet dinner table. He got his GED. He started college. He even spoke publicly about the injustice he had faced. His courage inspired thousands. But inside, the scars of Rikers remained. The paranoia, the depression, the pain of solitary confinement. It never left him. Freedom didn't mean healing. He struggled with the scars of prison life, haunted by what he endured. After surviving prison, after enduring solitary, the sting on his soul from Rikers had already eaten deeply. Pain finally became heavy to bear. In 2015, at just 22 years old, Kalief Browder took his own life. He never saw the justice he deserved. Kalief's death sparked outrage. His story became a symbol, a mirror reflecting the cracks in America's justice system. Candlelight processions were held in his honor in different states of the country. Mothers gathered in mourning at Rikers Prison and other prisons across the country. His story did not die with him. His case shook America. It exposed the cruelty of cash bail, the horrors of solitary confinement, and the failures of a justice system that punishes poverty more than crime. Even President Barack Obama spoke out, calling solitary confinement for juveniles an affront to our common humanity. Kalief's life became a rallying cry for reform, as men and women, old and young from different races, came together in protest, demanding justice. Kalief was accused of stealing a backpack, but what was stolen from him was his childhood, his freedom, and his future. His story is not just about one young man. It's about a system that failed him and the countless others trapped inside. By telling his story, we keep his memory alive and demand change. This is Shadows of Justice. If you believe these stories must be heard, join us. Like, share, and subscribe.